He didn't smile, didn't even compliment her dress, and she couldn't stop leaning into every word he said. Meanwhile, the guy next to him, he brought flowers, paid for everything, told her she was beautiful 3 times before appetizers arrived. She checked her phone twice and mentioned her early morning. Same restaurant, same night, 2 completely different outcomes. The difference? One man understood something most never figure out. The other was doing everything women secretly hate, but would never tell him to his face. Before we begin, subscribe to the channel if not already so that you don't miss out on what's about to come next. Now let's start. Number 1. Most men think agreement equals attraction. They nod along to everything she says like a dashboard bobblehead. I love hiking. Me too. I'm thinking about changing careers. That's amazing. My ex was a nightmare. You deserve so much better. Here's what actually happens, according to behavioral psychology. You've just triggered something called the validation trap. When you agree with everything, you're not creating attraction. You're creating a dopamine spike followed by immediate disinterest. Think about it. When has someone agreeing with your every opinion ever made you respect them more? She's not looking for a mirror. She's looking for a mind that challenges hers. Watch this. Instead of "you're so right, try interesting." I see it differently because. Then pause. Let her curiosity fill the gap. A friend of mine tried this on a 3rd date. She'd been complaining about her job for 10 minutes. Instead of the usual, "Your boss sounds terrible," he said. "Sounds like you're giving him a lot of power over your happiness." She stopped mid-sentence. Looked at him differently. That's when the real conversation started. Don't validate her thoughts. Engage with them. The next behavior, though, this one's even more subtle. Number 2. He pulled out his phone to show her his new car. Started talking about his promotion, his workout routine, his weekend plans in the Hamptons. She smiled politely. Check the time. Here's the behavioral psychology at work. When you lead with accomplishments, you're unconsciously positioning yourself as someone who needs external validation to feel worthy. And nothing kills attraction faster than neediness disguised as success. Women don't hate success. They hate insecurity wearing a success costume. Real confidence doesn't announce itself. It just exists in the space between words. I watched a guy completely shift a conversation once. Instead of talking about his job, he asked her about the book she was reading, then actually listened, to her answer. Asked follow-up questions that showed he was tracking her thoughts, not just waiting for his turn to speak. She put her phone away, leaned forward, started talking with her hands. That's the difference between impressing and intriguing. Impressing is about you. Intriguing is about her experience of you. But here's where it gets interesting. The next behavior actually makes women physically uncomfortable, and most men have no idea they're doing it. Number 3. The conversation hits a natural pause. He panics. Starts talking about the weather, the restaurant, anything to fill the void. She's thinking, does this guy ever stop talking? Silence isn't empty space that needs fixing. It's emotional real estate. And when you rush to fill it, you're essentially saying, I'm not comfortable with myself, so you shouldn't be either. Here's what neuroscience tells us about silence. In those pauses, her brain is processing you, creating associations, building attraction or destroying it. When you interrupt that process with nervous chatter, you're literally stopping her from falling for you. I know a guy who discovered this by accident. He was so nervous on a first date that he basically went mute for 30 seconds after she told him about her art. Just sat there, looking at her. She later told her friend, he really sees me. Like, actually sees me. Silence isn't awkward. Desperation to fill it is. Master the pause. Let her thoughts catch up to her feelings. But the next one, this might be the most damaging behavior on the list. The last few behaviors are controversial, but when you understand the psychology behind them, they reveal a level of emotional intelligence most men never develop. Number 4. Is this restaurant okay? Should we get dessert? What do you think we should do next? Every question is a tiny surrender of leadership. And while she'll never say it directly, each one makes her feel like she's dating a committee, not a man. This isn't about control or dominance. It's about decision-making confidence. Women want to feel like you're capable of navigating life without needing her permission slip. The psychology here is simple. When you constantly seek approval, you're outsourcing your self-worth to her judgment. That's not attractive. It's exhausting. Here's the subtle shift. Instead of, "What do you want to do?" try, "I have an idea. Trust me on this one." Then suggest something specific. A guy I know was notorious for the approval-seeking routine. One evening, instead of asking what she wanted for dinner, he said, "I know a place that makes the best pasta in the city. We're going." She lit up, not because of the restaurant, but because for the first time, she could relax and be led instead of leading. Make decisions. Own them. Let her enjoy the experience of being with someone who knows where they're going, literally and figuratively. But this next behavior? It's so common that women have developed a specific internal eye roll for it. Number 5. She mentions she's stressed about work. He immediately jumps into solution mode, trying to fix her problems, manage her emotions, carry her emotional burdens. You should talk to HR. Maybe try meditation. I can help you practice what to say. Here's what she's thinking: "I'm not broken. I don't need emotional janitor." The psychological principle at play is called emotional codependency. When you rush to solve her problems, you're unconsciously communicating that you don't think she's capable of handling her own life. Women hate this because it positions you as parent, not partner. She doesn't want you to fix her feelings. She wants you to witness them without taking responsibility for them. Here's the shift. Instead of "you should," try "that sounds challenging. How are you thinking about handling it?" One word change. Massive difference in dynamic. I watched a man completely transform his relationship by making this adjustment. Instead of trying to solve his girlfriend's work drama, he simply said, "Sounds like you're dealing with a lot. I'm here if you want to talk through it." She visibly relaxed. Started opening up more. Stopped seeing him as another person trying to manage her life. Hold space for her emotions without owning them. But the next behavior, this one actually triggers something primal. Number 6. He texts back immediately. Always free when she wants to hang out. Drops everything when she calls. Sounds thoughtful, right? Wrong. Constant availability doesn't signal care. It signals that you don't have a life worth protecting. And nothing kills attraction faster than the feeling that someone has reorganized their entire existence around your attention. The psychology here taps into something called the scarcity principle. When something is always available, our brains assign it less value. Not because we're cruel, but because that's how human psychology works. She wants to feel special, but she also wants to feel like she's won something worth winning. Here's the recalibration. Have boundaries around your time. Not to play games, but because you actually have a life you're invested in. A friend of mine used to be the always available guy. Then he started rock climbing. Suddenly, he wasn't free every Friday night. Had to reschedule dates sometimes because of his climbing group. The women he dated became more interested, not less. They started planning around his schedule instead of expecting him to plan around theirs. Be present when you're together, but make sure there's something worth being present for when you're apart. Now here's where it gets weird. The next behavior actually makes women question your self-respect. Number 7, she says something you completely disagree with, but instead of engaging authentically, you smile and nod. Keep the peace. Avoid conflict at all costs. She's thinking, does this person have any backbone? Avoiding disagreement isn't harmony. It's emotional cowardice, and women can sense it from across the room. Here's the deeper psychology. When you never push back, you're communicating that either you don't have opinions worth defending or you don't think she can handle your authentic thoughts. Both are attraction killers. Healthy tension creates chemistry. Always agreeing creates boredom. The key is disagreeing with respect, not to win, but to share your actual perspective. I saw this play out perfectly at a dinner party. A woman made a comment about a controversial topic. Most men nodded along. One guy said, "I actually see it differently. Here's why," and then explained his viewpoint calmly. She engaged, they debated, she laughed at his reasoning, asked more questions. While the other men faded into the background, she spent the rest of the evening talking to him. Your opinions matter. Your perspective has value. Don't hide it to keep her comfortable. But this next one, this is the behavior that makes women lose respect faster than anything else. Number 8. Sorry for talking so much. Sorry, I know I'm being boring. Sorry for having an opinion about this. Stop apologizing for existing. Every unnecessary apology is a tiny announcement that you don't believe you deserve to be there. And if you don't believe it, why should she? The psychology behind this is called self-deprecation as a defense mechanism. You're trying to beat her to the criticism by criticizing yourself first. But all you're doing is teaching her to see you the way you see yourself, as someone who takes up too much space. Women don't want to constantly reassure you that you're allowed to have thoughts, feelings, and opinions. Here's the shift. Replace apologies with appreciation. Instead of "sorry for rambling," try "thanks for listening." Instead of "sorry for having a different opinion," try "I appreciate you hearing me out." Take up space. You're allowed to be here. But the next behavior? It actually makes women feel unsafe, and they'll never tell you why. Number 9. You're amazing. You're perfect. You're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. I've never met anyone like you. All within the first 3 dates, she's thinking, this person doesn't actually know me. They're in love with an idea. Love bombing isn't romance, it's emotional overwhelm. And women's intuition picks up on the desperation underneath all those compliments. Here's the psychological mechanism. When you overcompliment early on, you're trying to create intimacy through intensity instead of through genuine connection. It feels artificial because it is. Real attraction builds through shared experiences and genuine observation, not through a compliment fire hose. The recalibration. Notice specific things. I like how you think about problems hits different than "you're incredible." The way you handled that situation showed real character lands deeper than "you're perfect." I watched a guy completely shift his dating results by making this change. Instead of telling women they were beautiful, he started noticing how they moved through the world. You have a way of making everyone feel included. Or, I can tell you really listen when people talk. The women started opening up more, sharing deeper parts of themselves, because they felt seen, not just admired. See her, don't worship her. But this final behavior, it's the most counterintuitive one of all. Number 10, this is the twist. Everything else on this list is about behaviors that push women away. This one is about what draws them closer, and most men are terrified to do it. You think showing weakness will make her lose interest, so you hide your fears, your struggles, your moments of uncertainty. But here's what actually happens. When you're always fine, always good, always handling everything perfectly, you become emotionally inaccessible. And emotional inaccessibility is the fastest way to kill intimacy. Women don't want perfect. They want real. The psychology here is about emotional courage. When you share something that actually matters, a fear, a struggle, something you're working through, you're showing her who you are beneath the performance. That's where connection lives. Not in your strengths, but in your willingness to be seen in your humanity. I know a guy who was always the everything's great person. Never showed stress, never admitted when things were hard. His relationships felt superficial because they were. Then he started dating someone new. 3 months in, he told her about his fear of not being good enough, about the pressure he felt to always have his life together. She didn't pull away. She moved closer, told him about her own fears. That's when their relationship became real. The strongest thing you can do is admit you're not always strong. But you have to choose the right moments, with the right person, for the right reasons. Vulnerability isn't weakness, it's emotional courage. And emotional courage is incredibly attractive. Here's what I want you to understand. Women aren't keeping secrets to hurt you. They're protecting themselves from having to manage your emotions about their honest reactions. But when you develop the emotional intelligence to recognize these patterns, when you start showing up as someone who doesn't need their approval or their emotional labor or their constant reassurance, that's when everything changes. Not because you're playing games, but because you're finally being the person they've been hoping you'd become. If you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more such videos. Thanks for watching.